What is going on? It is 12 noon on Friday, which means it's time for this week's episode of State of Real Estate. We're here every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, to help you understand how to mastermind and grow your real estate business. And what we're talking about today are just this idea of essential services. That was a big topic of discussion this time last year of who's essential, and in some places in this world it still is a big topic of who's considered essential. But that idea of thinking about essential, not just as how the real estate industry is essential in and of itself and how the last year realtors were considered to be essential services, and they still are. But now, what on a micro level, on a smaller, more precise level for your business, are the essential services of your business? What does it mean? What are the things you essentially do as a real estate professional? So we're going to be breaking that down today, tying in how important your role is to the economy as a whole and how you literally are essential to all of that. So I'm really excited to bring today's show to you. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching State of Real Estate.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate, where this week we're talking about just this keyword, essential. And specifically, essential services. Now, why is it important to think in context of essential? Now, last year, the whole world was being flipped upside down. And then for a lot of people, it's like, well, am I considered essential? Am I allowed to work? Am I essential to the economy as a whole? And real estate professionals were classified as essential. Now, why? Why are realtors essential? I mean, we're not providing food or water, no, but we are providing shelter. If you think of it, this is the business that we deal in. Ultimately, I would say more important is probably food. Now, granted, there's an abundance of food all around us, so that's usually not as much of a concern. But then also at the top of the list, the only thing more important than the food is water. Because, you know, the whole thing, food, water, and shelter. Well, food and water, that market's pretty locked up. Some pretty big companies that have kind of taken over the food and water industries. But what about shelter? There's definitely some big names, some big players that are out there, but why isn't Zillow the monopoly of real estate? I mean, they've been at it for a while. Well, what about any of these other ones? Zillow really looks like the only one that maybe could even do something like that, but it doesn't even seem like they're inclined to remove realtors, because if you really think about it, real estate professionals are essential. The things that we can do, technology does not have the capability to do it on their own. Now, technology is very powerful for helping accelerate your business and move it forward at a faster rate, but people still need real estate professionals. And really the main piece of information, the main key differentiator that really makes you essential to your clients is knowledge. What it is that you know. What do you know that your clients don't know? Now, this doesn't mean that you're being like condescending to them or talking down to them because you have such superior knowledge, but it's your superior knowledge that they're most interested in. It's almost like a given, I should say. It's something that's to be expected, that you are knowledgeable. That, look, you don't need to know everything about real estate, but you know more than them. You guys remember that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Catch Me If You Can? And there's also a book on it. Frank Abagnale, I think, was the guy's name of the actual real world, real life character that he played in that movie, Catch Me If You Can. And at one point, and this was the real Frank Abagnale that did this, he went and he fraudulently taught classes at a university for a whole semester. And so when the FBI finally caught up to him and were questioning him, they asked him how he was able to get away with that, how he was able to pass himself off, this kid, as a professor for a whole entire semester. Well, it has to do with knowledge, but he didn't go and know everything. What he said is he simply read one chapter ahead. And so therefore he was one step ahead of the class, so he seemed like he was much more superior in knowledge than the class was, when really he was just one step ahead. So that's what you want to do with your clients. You want to be one step ahead of them. If you could stay one step ahead of them, and as you become more experienced, you could probably stay a couple of steps ahead of them. But at the very least, especially when you're starting out, if you could stay one step ahead of your clients, if you know what that next step is, you might not know what the next step after the next step, but at least if you know that next step, you're going to seem like you know what you're talking about. You're going to seem knowledgeable, and when you seem like you're knowledgeable, you seem like a professional. If you're wondering how you get people to respect you as a professional, show them that you're a professional. Show them you have the professional knowledge and expertise that they're going to be interested in. Now, what if you're like, well, John, I don't necessarily have that professional knowledge and expertise. Look, if you've got a real estate license, you're already a cut above. Now, look, it's not saying a lot, because taking a real estate pre-licensing course, it's a lot of basics, a lot of laws, a lot of rules, but that being said, it's still more than what the general public knows. The general public does not know everything that you learned in that pre-licensing course. So that alone already puts you a cut above. But now, is that enough to really stand out? Is that enough to really showcase that you are really truly superior in knowledge? Maybe, but maybe not. Because your pre-licensing course is just the beginning. It's just the start. It's just the tip of the iceberg. As you learn more, as you grow more, you'll become more knowledgeable and more professional. And one of the things, you know, if you've watched any of my shows, that I always recommend is your post-licensing course. So stick with us. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in just a minute. Have you completed your post-licensing education yet? Look, I know you're probably thinking, hey, it's not my renewal deadline. I don't need to do post-licensing yet. But look, here's why you want to do post-licensing as soon as you've got your real estate license, as soon as you're able to take post-licensing. It's not just another course about arbitrary laws that you're never going to use again. It's about real-world, usable topics that'll help you grow your real estate business, to help you take it to the next level. Look, let me ask you this one question. If this course helps you close just one deal, if you get one extra deal from post-licensing, is it worth the investment? I'd say it is. We get paid pretty well, so one deal means a lot of money. Check out postflorida.com. That's postflorida.com for the full details about post-licensing. State of real estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. How to grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. And welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Kurtzman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time. Make sure you hit that bell icon so you get notifications whenever it is we have new content, so you don't miss out on any of this information to help you grow your business. And if you like today's episode, also hit that thumbs up button so we know you like this topic, and we'll do some more videos, some more episodes, some more information, some more content, some more knowledge we'll share with you on these topics. So that's how we gauge this. Let us know what you guys like in the comments, in the like buttons. But let's get back into today. So again, essential services. As a real estate professional, you are deemed essential. And the reason you're deemed essential is the general public is not considered to have the knowledge and professional expertise that is necessary to buy and sell their own home. Now, we live in a free country, so they'll let you do that, which is why there's people out there that'll do for sale by owner, or people usually don't even buy their home on their own. They usually will just call up the listing agent if they're not using their own realtor. Now the listing agent gets a double commission instead of them having representation with a realtor. There's a ton of opportunity that's out there. Every single person needs shelter. They might need more shelter, maybe less. Maybe they need to downsize. Maybe they need to relocate. Maybe they are relocating. They're moving here from another place in the country. But this is right at the top of the list. No one's going to be moving here without shelter figured out. Well, I shouldn't say no one, because there are people that move places without figuring stuff out. But for most people, they're going to have figured out their shelter. Maybe they're just renting something at first. A lot of people don't like to necessarily buy something right away if they're planning on living somewhere long term. They want to find a good place to kind of settle into. And look, we've done episodes before on renters and buyers, and that's one of the pros to working with renters, is they're not always going to be a renter. Eventually, someday, they're going to buy real estate, especially if you tell them why that's such a good idea and why they should do it. And they might not be ready to do it right now, but they will be at some point in the future, and you want to stay top of mind. Because you are essential. They will need somebody. They will need somebody. Even the people that try to sell for sale by owner on their own, the statistics like 70 or 80%, maybe even 90%, it's somewhere very, very high, of for sale by owners eventually list their property with a real estate professional. Why? Because it's very difficult to do it on your own. The knowledge alone, just the time that it takes to take in the amount of information you need to know. Think, if you guys have studied for your real estate exam, you know the significance of how much information is out there to know about real estate. And somebody who has never even taken one of these classes before, but maybe they saw a YouTube video online about selling their house, or they went on some little website that made it sound like it's super easy and fun, and you're going to save a ton of money if you do it yourself, when in reality, real estate professionals, on average, according to the National Association of Realtors, get typically 10 to 30% more than what a for sale by owner would get on their own. So if we charge, let's say, a 7, an 8%, even a 9% commission, that might be a little high, 9% commission, but if I'm turning around and giving you 10% back, you're still coming out ahead. Imagine if we got 30% back for whatever the cost is of that commission. I bet it's going to be less. But people don't know that. We know that because the Association of Realtors has commissioned studies and spent probably millions of our realtor dues to research that and figure out what are the real numbers. We know that we're better than for sale by owners, but now we have the, well, not now, this has been data for a long time, but we have the data to back that up. Does the average Joe or Jane selling their house know that they're potentially discounting it just by not knowing what they're doing? That if they hired a professional in the long run, they're probably going to get more, maybe not as much as they think they might get. That could also be where they're wrong, maybe overpricing and not getting anybody to even consider the property. And when you don't know what you're doing, you're not a professional. You're an amateur. And amateurs can do it. There's do-it-yourself. There's a whole category of do-it-yourself. I like to do it myself sometimes and stuff. Until I get frustrated, until I'm ready to throw whatever I'm working on at the wall because I'm so frustrated and I've spent way more time than I've wanted to on it, and I'm realizing it's a waste of my time. And all that just to find out that I should have just hired a professional from the beginning. Look, we all go through that, even myself to this day. My wife laughs about it when I want to try to do something myself just for whatever crazy reason it is that I have. When really, in the end, you know what? Maybe we do need a professional for that. So it's not just me. It's everybody that's out there. Well, what's the benefit of doing it yourself? Oh, well, maybe saving money. But do you know that you're not even really saving money? Do you know that you're probably going to cost yourself more money by doing it yourself? So not only are you spending all the time to figure it all out and try to do it all on your own, let's say you actually do pull it off to where you do secure a buyer, you're probably going to end up at least 10% less, if not 30% less than where you'd be at with a real estate professional. Do your clients know how essential you are to them? That's really why I really like today's episode and topic of essential. That word essential, that is a very powerful word when you really understand what it means to be considered essential. And not by CDC or government definitions, but what makes you essential to your clients. Why are you essential to your clients? We could talk about why you're essential to the real estate industry and to the country and the greater world at large. But that doesn't matter to your clients. Your clients don't care how important you are to the stability of the economic system of the country. They care about why you're important to them, why you're essential to them. And that's because you could help them get the shelter, but they could do that on their own, but they're not going to be knowledgeable. They're not a professional. They don't know what they're doing. They're going to make a mistake. They might potentially lose money. So we're here to help make sure that doesn't happen, or it happens as little as possible. That we're guiding them through this process to make it smooth, to make it easy, to make it fun even. That's what's going to make you essential. And if you could really wrap your head around that of being essential to your clients, being the real estate professional that your clients cannot live without, that is what's going to generate you future business, future referrals, future sales. And it's just going to power your business because you're going to have so much more momentum because you're going to be more successful. Because when you're essential, you're doing whatever it takes to make deals happen and make them go through. And will they always go through? No. But you're putting it all on the line to make sure it's not your fault. And your clients will see that as well. And so even when things don't work out for them, when they see that you're going above and beyond for them, they'll respect that. And not only will they respect it, but they'll want to help you because you're doing so much to help them. That is what makes you essential. Not because some list or some government says you're essential, but because your clients cannot live, cannot do whatever it is they're trying to do, acquire shelter without you. So look, we're going to take another quick commercial break. Stick with us. I'm John Crosmo. You're watching State of Real Estate. Are you studying for your Florida real estate exam? If you are, you need to check out our Pass First Try strategy. You're going to love this. It's 4 steps that we break down the process to study for your Florida real estate exam. So you're set up to pass your Florida real estate exam because that's what you're studying for, right? To pass your exam. It's 4 steps. Number 1, you learn the information. You've got to learn this to be able to pass the exam, but it doesn't stop at learning. Step 2, you've got to reinforce the basic, simple, key concepts. As you learn this information, keep reviewing the simple things. You don't need to know everything, but you got to review these basic key concepts. Step 3, you've got to test your knowledge. The exam's going to test your knowledge, so if you don't test your knowledge in advance, you won't find out if you know what you think you know until you take the exam. And then step 4 is be confident and prepared, because even if you know this material, you need to be confident that you know the material. Check out the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. My name is John Crosmo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every single Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time. Make sure you hit that bell icon so you get notifications whenever we go live, and hit that thumbs up if you like today's topic, so we'll do some more about that. Now, getting back to today's topic of essential services. Again, it's not that the government says that you're essential. Yeah, that was important last year because then you don't get problems with law of what you're doing. But we've already established that the government realizes we're important, but now do our clients realize how important we are? Do our clients know how essential we are? And you're not going to convey that knowledge to them just by telling them that it's important that they use you. Again, this isn't about being condescending and better than your clients. You might be more knowledgeable than them. That doesn't necessarily make you better than them. And even if you are, that's not the point. Because even if you are better than them, you rubbing that in their face is not going to make them want to do business with you. So that doesn't matter who's better of the two of you here. But what matters is that you do have superior knowledge and information. And what you want to try to do is win them over to where they trust you and that they understand what it is that you're saying. That's usually a big part of trust that a lot of people make the disconnect on. They'll say, I'm being genuine and I'm telling them everything to do, but they still don't trust me. Well, if you're just telling somebody to do stuff, why would they trust you? If you're just giving them orders, why should they trust you? Oh, this is a good point. What is it that builds that trust? It's the concern. It's the care. It's the attention. For those of you who like to talk, it's listening. Trust me, you can absolutely talk yourself out of sales. You could talk yourself out of business. Talking is not what you need to practice. It's listening. I guarantee you, every single one of you, no matter how good of a talker or how bad of a talker you consider yourself is, this is always significantly more important, is actually listening, and not just listening to respond, but listening to understand. That you're not just simply assuming what your client needs or what your client knows, but you're listening and you're questioning and you're trying to help them realize what they need to understand. But first you have to understand what they understand. Because if you don't know where they're coming from, how are you going to take them to where they need to be? If you need to get them to this way of thinking or this thought or this idea, you don't know where to even begin if you don't know where they're coming from. So that's why it's so important that you listen, that you understand, because that'll show that you're concerned, that you care, that you're paying attention to them. And then that will open the floodgates to allow you to showcase your knowledge to where they'll be receptible to it, where they're willing to receive your knowledge. How many times you've been telling somebody something and you've had to tell them after fact? This is the test. If you've ever had to tell somebody, I told you so. I've used that word before, and honestly, at this point now, I feel bad when I have that idea of I told you so. Because I don't want to have to tell people so. I don't want to be after the fact correcting the problem that already occurred. I want you to trust me enough that you take my advice in the moment. So it's not after the fact, after you fall flat on your face, I'm sitting there saying I told you so. If I got to say I told you so, I feel like a failure. Because that tells me that I did not do a good job of sharing that knowledge in a way that it was receivable. Because if it's not receivable by your clients, you're just wasting your time. If they're not listening, if they're not going to take your advice, if they're not doing what you're saying when what you're saying is extremely important to whatever it is that you're doing, and it's maybe the make it or break it thing to what you're doing, but they don't trust you, they don't believe you, that makes it really, really, really hard to do your job. This is where realtors get burnt out and get frustrated, that whether it's their client wants to keep looking at more homes or whatever it is, where they feel like they're in frustration with their client, it's probably because they don't understand where their client's coming from. And if they do understand where their client's coming from and they're still having this issue, it's because they have not been able to take action on that. So it starts with first understanding, listening, figuring out what it is, where they're coming from, what their thoughts are, what their ideas are, what things they might think that are right, what things they might think that are wrong. So that way we could go into this with full knowledge. Imagine, we all have pets, and it's so difficult with a pet, like let's say if they have some sort of ailment, to really diagnose that. Why? Because we can't communicate, or we can't speak. I don't know any animals out there that could speak English. If they could, well, it'd make a lot of veterinarians' job a lot easier. But now people, we have the ability to communicate. And so with people, we could diagnose, we could understand, and when we diagnose and we understand what's going on inside our clients' heads, we could offer a solution, a remedy, a fix, a cure to their problems, to their ailments. But only if we know what the problems are. Otherwise, we're just guessing. We're just saying, oh, well, here, okay, all right, well, yeah, I'm a realtor. I could sell you a house. How about this one here? Oh, do you like this house? No, you don't? All right, well, okay, how about this one here? Now, if we're just showing them random houses, this is a great example of listening to understand, just really at the surface level, though, because you want to take this even deeper, of just listening and understanding what are they looking for in a home, where do they want to live, what is it that they want, so that way you can only show them what it is that they're actually interested in. Would you show them a home from a property say they would never want to live in? Probably not. You're probably wasting your time doing that. But if you don't understand they'd never want to live there, then you're not going to have that knowledge and you're not going to seem like a professional. It's not just product knowledge that you need, it's client knowledge that you need. You need to understand your clients. You need to, again, know where they're coming from, what thoughts they have in their head, what misconceptions they might have. And it's all about establishing a open, honest, direct relationship where communication is straightforward and simple. If you get to that point, it's going to make everything so much easier. And some people it's going to be a little bit more difficult than others. But if that's your goal, is to simplify and streamline communications, to be open, to be direct, that's what's going to allow you to, again, get them to open up to you. And when they open up to you, that means they've opened up to you. That means you could crawl right in there and say, all right, cool. Now that you're going to listen to me, now that you trust what I have to say, this is what I'm going to tell you. This is what we're going to do. That sound good? And see how we're getting buy-in. We're getting buy-in on that, so we're confirming that they understood that. Does that make sense to you? Do you see what I'm saying here? Or do you need me to explain that a different way? These things that will show that you're concerned, that you care about them understanding, and you're willing to listen to their concerns because you care. You're giving them the attention. That's going to make you seem knowledgeable because you're able to whittle down the knowledge to what knowledge they need. That's the mark of a true professional. Not that you just know a bunch of random things, but you know the things that are important to this particular scenario. When you're able to sift through everything it is that you know and realize what's actually important for this scenario, that's what's going to make you look really knowledgeable, but that's pretty much impossible if you don't understand where they're coming from you don't understand them. But again, having that knowledge, that's going to make you seem like a professional. So, look, I didn't know what you expected when we were talking about essential services, if we're going to be talking about CDC and COVID stuff and things like that. And yeah, that's where this term, I think, really kind of became popular, of essential. But what I mean today is you want to be essential, not just on a government list, because what is that going to get you? That's just going to get them not bugging you when you're out there trying to earn a living. But is that going to make you seem essential to your clients? Are your clients going to care that, oh, well, the CDC said I'm essential, so you need a realtor? No, that's not going to sell you as a realtor. This is what sells you as a realtor. Your knowledge, your professionalism, and most importantly, crafting that and tailoring it to your client. You know, real estate, it's not a simple cut and paste. Everything is exactly the same, where it can be monetized and machinized and automated. There's a lot of things that can be automated, but they still need a captain of the ship. And as a real estate professional, that's what you are. But the captain of the ship, they really don't do much other than making sure they understand everything that's going on and making sure the ship is heading in that correct direction. That's what your job is. That's what you're there to do. To oversee everything and make sure that that goal is achieved in the end for your client. And that's, again, what's going to make you essential, when you could really showcase that you're there for them, you care, you're concerned, you understand, you're listening, showing that you're knowledgeable, and that's all going to make you look like a professional. So that's about all the time we've got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you've liked today's episode, again, make sure you hit that thumbs up button so we know which topics to do more content on. If you're not already subscribed, ring that little bell icon, hit that little bell, and you're going to get notifications whenever it is we have new content. So that way you don't miss out on any of this information we have to help you grow your real estate business. Because here at the Tampa School of Real Estate, we want to see you succeed. Look, even if you haven't been a student of ours yet, and I say yet because once you stick around us long enough, you're going to want to become one of our students, so we'll get you for your continuing education and whatnot. But we're here ultimately not to earn $20 off your continuing education, but to help you succeed. Because that's ultimately what we want to do. We want to be a beacon of success. For anyone that wants to achieve success in real estate, we want to help take you there. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you have questions about starting your real estate career, maybe you need to complete your post-licensing, maybe you're ready to take your real estate business to the next level, whatever training it is that you need, give us a call, 813-333-2676. Again, that's 813-333-2676. That's about all the time we've got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Have you completed your post-licensing education yet? Look, I know you're probably thinking, hey, it's not my renewal deadline, I don't need to do post-licensing yet, but look, here's why you want to do post-licensing as soon as you've got your real estate license, as soon as you're able to take post-licensing. It's not just another course about arbitrary laws that you're never going to use again. It's about real-world, usable topics that'll help you grow your real estate business, to help you take it to the next level. Look, let me ask you this one question. If this course helps you close just one deal, if you get one extra deal from post-licensing, is it worth the investment? I'd say it is. We get paid pretty well, so one deal means a lot of money. Check out postflorida.com. That's postflorida.com for the full details about post-licensing. State of real estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business.